For the first segment of this episode 39 of Morning Kickoff, we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Vikings. Who do they have to cut? These are personal players who I think they're going to cut, but who I think they should cut. But I don't think that they're going to cut all these players. Starting off with someone I do not think that they're going to cut, and that's going to be Amir Abdullah. I've been saying for some time, Amir Abdullah has no place on this team. He is not useful at all for the offense, not useful at all for the special teams. He's not good. He's not good, but they are not going to cut him because he is loved by the team. If you win the locker room and other players love you, coaches love you, you're not going to get cut. He had like that speech like yesterday, day before. He's not going to get cut, but we don't need him. We have a replacement. Last year, he was our kick returner. Yeah, our kick returner. He was terrible. He was not good at all. He was our kick returner, and I think I've seen him do one good kick return in the entire season, and that was against the Chargers in like week 12 or something. Amir Abdullah has no place in this team. We have way better running backs. Dalvin Cook, obviously better running back. Dalvin Cook will be gone, so it's good to have a backup piece, which, of course, we already do. We have Alexander Madison, who had a great season last year, Rookie of the Year for my pick for Minnesota Vikings. And then, of course, the Mike Boone. Mike Boone has played for some time on the league, and he's great. Amir Abdullah has never lived up to his, I think, first-round pick by the Detroit Lions, and then came here later. Not good. We don't need him. We don't need to pay. He's not getting paid much, so they're not going to get rid of him, but I think they should get rid of him to cut down on the 53-man roster when they have to, because we are set at running back. We don't need this guy to be our running back when we have so many better players, when we have his replacement on kick return anyways. We drafted KJ Osborne in I think the 5th round, who was a great kick returner and punt returner in college, and we have his replacement. And even if he doesn't work, we can use anyone in Amir Abdullah's placement. We don't need him to be our starting kick returner at all. We can use Mike Boone. I saw Mike Boone be a better kick returner last year. CJ Ham, not a good kick returner, but hey, I'd still use him over Amir Abdullah. And then Mike Hughes. We haven't seen much of Mike Hughes, but he was our punter. I think he was just a punt returner. Yeah, Mike Hughes was just a punt returner, so him being back, we could see him used in the special team more. So I don't think that they're going to get rid of Amir Abdullah. He might still be our starting kick returner. I don't think that's going to be the case because we did draft KJ Osborne, but still, he'll probably get some play time and garbage time, maybe games that don't matter. Dalvin Cook might go out, and Alexander Madison might go out, and then maybe he'll have a chance, but we still have Mike Boone, who Mike Boone played amazing last year, and he deserves that third starting role over Amir Abdullah this year. Don't use CJ Ham in the run game. Use him, well, of course, in the run blocking game. You can use some trick plays with him, but if you're using him as your running back, that's not what you want to do, even though CJ Ham is the best fullback in the league, in my opinion. And then next we have a player who I think they will cut, and that's going to be Dillon Mitchell. I'm only putting on this list players who are not rookies because, of course, rookies, I haven't seen them play an NFL game. They're obviously in practice, so I can't judge them off of that, but I'm judging these players off of how I've seen them play in the NFL so far. So these are just players. And then we have Dillon Mitchell, who was our 7th-round draft pick in 2019. We are set at wide receiver. We do not need this player. We have great wide receivers with, of course, Adam Thielen being our starting wide receiver. I don't know who's going to be our 2 wide receiver, whether that is Tajay Sharp, Justin Jefferson, or BC. All those can be a 2 wide receiver, and we're fine. I wouldn't really like BC as a 2, but hey, we'll see. And Justin Jefferson might be playing inside the slot. Tajay Sharp might be our 2. BC might be inside the slot. Whatever it is, we are set at wide receiver. And then aside from that, you have Alexander Madison, KJ Osborne. You got a lot of Alexander Madison is another 2-year player that will be playing. We drafted more wide receivers in I think 6th, 7th round. So we are set. We do not need Dillon Mitchell at all. We don't need him. We have KJ Osborne. We have Courtney Davis as well. We have Olabisi Johnson, Justin Jefferson, Tajay Sharp, Adam Thielen, Alexander Hollins. You only can have 53 people on your team. You don't need Dillon Mitchell at all when he's not going to get any play time. You don't even want him on your practice squad. You don't. We can have Courtney Davis and Alexander Hollins on our practice squad, fine, but you don't need Dillon Mitchell. And then next we have a player I also do not think that they're going to cut, but they need to cut him, and that is Riley Reef. They don't need to cut him right now because we don't know how his replacement, Ezra Cleveland, will look. Ezra Cleveland was a 2nd-round draft pick. We don't know how he's going to look, but this will not happen because Riley Reef is loved by whatever reason, but he is so overpaid. One of the most overpaid left tackles in the entire NFL, and is terrible. He did nothing last year. Nothing. He was awful last year. Nothing at all. He's going to be a free agent in 2022. Cut him after this season. Just move on. We don't want to pay that big contract. It's not all guaranteed money. You can have Ezra Cleveland come in. I didn't see Ezra Cleveland really play in college, but assuming that he was taken in the 2nd round and his athletic ability is really good, he can be better than Riley Reef. That's not asking for very much at all. We can use Rashad Hill. I saw Rashad Hill play better than Riley Reef last year. Use him instead, but also we want Rashad Hill to be our right tackle because Brian O'Neill goes out a lot. So They're not going to cut him, but I would like to see it happen. I think it's going to happen after the season, though. We have to get rid of that contract eventually. And then another player I don't think will happen, but another player who's just overpaid that we have to get rid of, and that's a player I've been talking about a lot, and that's Shamar Stephen. Shamar Stephen did nothing in 2019. Our interior defensive line was the worst thing in our entire, maybe corner. No, interior defensive line just held us back a lot, and that's what I was saying was the biggest need for the Vikings this offseason. We fixed that need with Michael Pierce. Now we know how that ended up, where Michael Pierce is opting out the season, so our interior line is still not looking good. We lost Linval Joseph, who didn't do much last year, my favorite player. Shamar Stephen, another player who did nothing last year. It's going to be interesting to see what Armon Watts does, what Jaleel Johnson does, and then Jalen Holmes. Those are 3 players to watch out for because they could really save us. And then also our new rookies, James Lynch, and then you have, I'm missing a guy. I don't know. James Lynch was our 3rd-round pick, and they drafted someone else. But still, our interior line is going to be a lot different this year than it was last year. I don't know if it's going to be better or it's going to be worse, but there's a lot of different players, and Shamar Stephen has got to go. He did nothing last year, and years before that, I've never been impressed by Shamar Stephen. Overpaid player we do not need. Hercules Mataafa, that's the name I was looking for. He is not a rookie, though. He's a second-year player, and but was on the practice squad last year, so technically this will be his first year on the active roster, assuming he does make the active roster, because a lot of people are really high on this guy. I mean, I've never been high on Hercules Mataafa is his name. I've never been really high on him. I saw him in the preseason a couple years ago. Did look good, but does he look like a starter? I don't know. He's going to be probably a filler piece. We can live without Shamar Stephen. We don't need to pay this guy this much money. We can live without Shamar Stephen. Totally fine. Have that money to pay some other player or get a new guard. How about we get a new guard from free agency? There's still players out there we can get, trade for someone. That's the biggest need for the Vikings. Not Shamar Stephen, not Riley Reef, not any of these other players. Although I do think Amir Abdullah and Riley Reef will be here for at least another season, is what I think. But Dylan Mitchell and Shamar Stephen, those are 2 players that really could leave. I would like to see Shamar Stephen gone. We don't need him at all. We don't need that money. Or we need the money. We don't need to pay him that money. And we have his filler piece. Armon Watts, Jalen Holmes, Hercules Mataafa, and James Lynch. And then also Jaleel Johnson. Those are all players who are interior linemen who will be starting this year. Or, well, not starting, but will be playing every game this year. And it's going to be interesting to see because last year our interior line was awful. And it's weird coming off of a year where we were one of the best in the league. So that's my thoughts on players that I do think have to leave for the Minnesota Vikings, players that I think they got to get rid of. And let me know what you all think. Is there players that I'm missing? Is there players you would add? Is there anything you would change? Let me know.